still under oath.
Thank you, my lady.
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Court, please, my lady. Madam, I want to deal with two issues this afternoon. The first one is your evidence about payment of money to the deceased family. There are two references in your report about that, am I right?
It's correct, my lady.
The one we can find at page 16. Do you have that?
Yes, my lady.
Where it said that respectfully submitted that taking his verbal expressions together with his tendering of an apology to deceased family members, his voluntary payment of a monthly amount to deceased parents, his offering of a further payment to her parents, and his conduct through this matter showed the accused is indeed remorseful. Who gave you that information?
That information was obtained by the legal team for the accused, my lady.
So the legal team and the accused gave you this information?
That is correct, my lady.
If we go to page...
What page is that?
It was 16, my lady.
16.
Yes, my lady. Then I want to refer you to page 49. Where you said, the accused sold his last asset, his motor vehicle, for an amount of 375,000 rand and requested that the amount be paid into the trust account of the legal representatives acting on behalf of the parents of the deceased for the pain and suffering caused to them as a result of the incident, should they wish to accept the amount. Where did you get that information?
Also from the legal team of the accused, my lady.
Did you discuss this with the accused?
Yes, my lady, I did.
Okay. Now, firstly, did the legal team of the accused inform you that the deceased family rejected the offer of 375,000 rand?
That is in fact so, my lady.
Why did you not include it?
I was only informed of that after the report was compiled, my lady.
But when you gave evidence this morning, why did you not include that? Why did you not fix that up?
I can place it before the Honourable Court now, my lady. I was informed that no further legal action was going to be taken by them, but that they did not want the amount of money offered by the accused.
That the accused mother went so far as to say that she rejects that, she doesn't want blood money. Do you know that?
No, my lady, as I've indicated earlier, I was not able to consult with them.
Now, I'm still concerned that a professional person would, knowing that that offer has been rejected, would not fix it up in a report. I'm concerned about that. Why did you not do that?
I can place it on record now, my lady, that they did in fact reject it, and that I was informed that no further legal action was going to be taken by the concerned parties.
Madam, it's not the first time today, but you're not answering the question. I know what they told you. What I want to know is, why did you not fix your report up? Why did you not correct it?
I was informed today of this, my lady, so I can only place it on record.
Okay. So were you informed today?
Of the fact that no further legal actions will be taken, my lady?
No, madam, you see, if you were a first-time witness, one would understand you're not answering questions, but you're not. So you're deliberately not answering the questions. Or what? You're not a first-time witness.
I've attempted to answer the question, my lady.
The question is, when were you informed that the 375,000 rand offer was rejected by the family of the deceased? When?
My lady, I wouldn't be able to confirm 100%, but I think it was yesterday.
Do you know when the offer was made?
No, my lady. I do not know any specific details of the offer.
Okay. No, but you see, then I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to think about it because I know, but I want to ask you. When were you informed of the offer having been made? When?
Of the offer?
That they made an offer of 375,000 rand.
That was when or during the time that I compiled my report, my lady.
When, madam? Can
No,
you
my
help the
lady.
court or don't?
No, my lady, I do not have a specific day.
Was it Friday last week?
I cannot recall a specific day, my lady.
But one thing we do know is that before you testified, you knew that that offer was rejected, but you failed to mention that. That we know.
The offer was rejected by the parties. That is correct, my lady.
Have you received any explanation on the monthly amount that was paid?
I do not.
What do you mean explanation?
Has anything changed as far as that is concerned? Do you know anything about the monthly payment?
No, my lady.
Now, I can put on record, and I'll need evidence if I have to, that those money will be paid back to the accused in full, every cent.
I take note thereof, my lady.
Good. But before I knew all this, I just worked it out. That if the accused has got no money, that your evidence is he's got no money.
Up to date, I've been informed, my lady.
So the 6,000 rand that was paid came from somewhere else.
No, my lady, it came from funds, or I was informed that it came from funds that the accused still had available.
So he still had some funds available. Till when? When did that dry up?
No, my lady, his specific financial status is not made available to me.
I'm testing you on your version. I'm not testing you on anything else. You said the 6,000 rand was paid from funds he had available. When did that dry up?
I do not know exactly, my lady. I just know that the accused no longer has funds available.
Since when? When was the last time he had money?
I was informed, my lady, that he sold the car, but specific dates and times is not made available, and that money was also made as an offer available.
You see, madam, the car, the sale of the car and the money paid monthly, those two are two independent, different things. Because the 6,000 rand came from funds, am I right? When did that dry up?
No, I cannot give an explanation as to exactly when it dried up, my lady.
So, but if I read your report, and the best for this report is, at the time the accused sold this report, sold this car, there was no money. Oh, no.
Yes, that is correct,
That's
my
correct.
lady.
Oh.
That's correct, my lady.
So, a monthly payment for next month by the accused would in any case be impossible.
If they have rejected the offer, my lady, but I'm sure the accused will be able to maybe obtain money from family members, but I did not go into that. I cannot elaborate on that.
Okay. Then, madam, your evidence about the conditions in prison, where did you get that from?
My lady, I used to work and do groups within the prison environment. Unfortunately, this has since changed, but I have access to the prisons on whenever we need to do appointments. And then in addition to that, my lady, I do consult with the wardens and the social workers. And then in addition to that, I went on a visit through Krugersdorp prison approximately 2 years ago. So...
Okay. Now, I have to get this because, madam, I have to inform you that we will call somebody from correctional services that would indicate to this court that they upset about the evidence and that it's totally wrong about the conditions of prison.
I take note thereof, my lady.
Therefore, I'm going to test you and I want to find out why you say the things you say and what you in fact say. Now, you say that you did groups in prison. When was that?
It was many years ago, my lady.
Good, many years ago. Let's get many a date. What is many's date?
It was at least 10 years ago that I had access on a regular basis to the prisons, which was Johannesburg prison, for groups that we had on the inside.
Okay, so but let us say I had access to prison 10 years ago to do groups. Am I right?
That's correct, my lady.
And you're referring to one specific prison, and that's Johannesburg prison.
That's correct, my lady.
Okay.
I went on a visit through Krugersdorp prison.
That's 2 years ago.
That's correct, my lady.
Okay. What else?
And then we have, whenever we go to see or interview people on the inside of the prison, although we do not go to the specific cells.
Yeah, no, but you go into prison, if you interview people, you see them in an area that's
Allocated for social workers and
yes.
probation officers.
Good. So, you base all your evidence on visits to the Johannesburg prison 10 years ago, a visit to the Krugersdorp prison 2 years ago, and what else?
Then you confirm with wardens and you confirm with the social workers, my lady, whether the status of the prison cells have actually changed in the meantime.
Okay. That's how, yes, I'm not really wanting to give it, but let's deal with it because we'll get to the facts. So I confirm with prison wardens. The only thing you can confirm is what's happening in Joburg prison.
No, my lady, I go to various prisons.
But to interview people in the places allocated for social workers and probation officers.
That's correct, but I go to various prisons. I've been in Pretoria prison, I've been in Durban, I've been in Johannesburg, I've been in Krugersdorp prison, I've been to various or numerous prisons.
But the only prison that you went inside
Is Krugersdorp, my lady?
It's the only prison that I went inside was Krugersdorp prison. Okay. Have you ever been to a hospital section of any prison?
Yes, my lady.
Which one?
To Johannesburg and Krugersdorp.
Okay. And people are kept there that are sick and cared for.
That is in fact so. That's
Yes.
correct. That's before they are either transferred, but that is so, my lady.
Yes. And the conditions in the hospital section is totally different from what you would get in the general section.
That I cannot dispute. It is. There's a smaller group of people who are being detained, and obviously the circumstances are more controlled.
Yes. So, in the meantime, since you've visited the Krugersdorp prison, various private prisons have opened their doors. Am I right?
That is in fact so, my lady.
You've not visited any of those?
Not as up to date, my lady.
You don't know what the conditions in those prisons are?
No, my lady.
But you're willing to tell this court that no prison in this country would be able to cope for this accused. Why can you do that?
I have not confirmed with a private prison, my lady.
Why would you come to this court and say to this court that no prison in South Africa would be able to cater for this accused if you don't know?
I don't think my words were that no prison. I said that prisons in general does not accommodate people with disabilities.
Okay. Now, if you say that, and I want to test that, are you now saying that some prisons will be able to accommodate
I
this?
wouldn't know, my lady, because I haven't consulted with people from a private prison.
But you say in general. Why would you say in general? What does that mean?
Because that would mean the majority of prisons, my lady.
And the issue you have with the majority of prison is the showers.
That's not what I said, my lady.
What did you say?
I said, first of all, the showers, also that there were no rails.
Yeah, in
We
the showers.
spoke about the cement floors.
Mm-hmm.
We spoke about the slippery floors.
Mm-hmm.
The toilet facilities.
What about toilet facilities?
I think most of the prisons that I am aware of has about 2 toilets.
You see? Okay, I'll deal with that. You say the prisons that you know, which is Krugersdorp prison.
No, those are the prisons that I've done interviews with and that I have received feedback from people within the prison.
So that's totally hearsay. Never confirmed it yourself. You heard from people saying there are only 2 toilets in this prison.
No, not in the prison itself, in a specific section, my lady. So if you are being locked up, those people normally have 2 toilets, 1 basin and 1 shower, or 2 basins and 1 shower.
Are you talking awaiting trial, or are you talking sentenced prisoners?
That would depend, my lady, but if you are sentenced, there are global open cells and then there are single cells.
Are you sure that there are global open cells when you're sentenced?
For sentenced prisoners, as far as I know, my lady, yes.
I asked you, are you sure?
Yes, my lady, because not everybody is detained from a single cell.
Wait, that's not the question, madam. The question is the following. You spoke about global open cells. There's a difference between that and a single cell. Global open cells. What do you understand with global open cells?
Where there are more than 1 person that's being detained.
Now we'll go through it. If a global open cell is more than 1, what could that be? Up to maximum.
That would depend, my lady. Sometimes when we go to visit in the prisons, I have up to 38 people. Over Christmas or holiday periods, they vary from 84 to 100 people, even more.
Wait. Global open prison cells for sentenced prisoners.
No, that would differ from sentencing to unsentenced.
You see, that's my problem, because we've just been discussing sentence, you and I. And you deliberately got confused again. Why would you get confused?
No, I did not get confused, my lady. I was just trying to answer the question.
No, you weren't, madam. And you're laughing, and I don't know why you're laughing. I don't know why you would snigger. I really don't. Because this is serious.
It's absolutely serious,
why would you
my
snigger?
lady.
Why would you snigger? I'll ask you that question.
I'm sorry, I don't.
Why would you laugh? Why would you go like that?
It would just be a manner of addressing or saying something.
Do you think it's appropriate in the High Court to do that?
Well, certain things are appropriate. One cannot stand here, my lady. We're talking about a human being. Maybe the manner in which the advocate addresses some people is also not appropriate, or it feels like he attacks people at some point in time. So if I put that back to him, that would also not be appropriate.
I agree.
So there's a manner in speaking, and a manner in speaking doesn't mean that you are respectful or not disrespectful. It's just a human being here being asked a question under certain circumstances. And it doesn't mean that it's specifically linked to an attitude or a personality trait. It's just the manner in which it was answered.
Okay.
So if I offended you, I have to apologize in that manner.
It's not me. You will never offend me. With utmost
If
respect,
I offended the Honourable Court, I
that's
have
better.
to apologize.
Now, why would you deal with awaiting trial prisoners when we're busy with sentenced prisoners, as far as the Global Cell is concerned?
I think it's normally because when the figures are being given to a person, they normally give it as a total. So it's not that you specifically or deliberately not give it to the Honourable Court separate. I think it's because it's normally taken into a quantity that's given to the Honourable Court.
You see, madam, that you can't get away with that answer, because I asked you if you know if sentenced prisoners are kept in global open cells. You volunteered that evidence, in fact. Now I'm asking you, do you know if sentenced prisoners are kept in a global open cell?
Yes, my lady, but the amount of people that are kept there, I do not know.
How do you know that they're kept in global open cells?
Because people have conveyed that to us when they come back or they go to their cells.
So you heard from people?
That's correct, my lady.
But you never heard numbers?
No, my lady, because
Okay.
it varies on a daily basis.
Now, but you also know that people, sentenced prisoners, are kept in single cells as well.
That is in fact so. It can't be disputed, my lady.
And so if we deal with this particular accused, he could be kept in a single cell.
That is so, my lady.
And he will have his facilities, toilet facility, wash facility within a single cell.
That is in fact so, my lady. There's only a basin.
Yes. So, I have three things. One, you visited, the only prison you've ever been into is Krugersdorp prison,
That's correct, my lady.
and the rest of all the information that you've put into this report is things you heard from people.
That is correct, my lady.
And you've heard from people there are no railings in the showers, and there's cement floors in the showers. That you only heard from people.
No, that I've seen myself, my lady.
In Krugersdorp prison.
That's correct,
But
my
that's
lady.
the only prison. Other prisons you don't know.
That's correct, my lady.
Then, madam, seeing that we have an hour this afternoon, I want to deal with one other aspect. And that's the following. In normal circumstances, if one looks at correctional supervision, 276H, one would say that the accused has a job and he can keep on working. And that's one of the factors that the court will take into account. Am I right?
That is correct, my lady.
And I've seen some of your reports, and I will deal with that. That is one thing that you always emphasize. This man or woman has a job and can keep on working and be a good member of society.
That is a factor to be looked at. I think the witness yesterday also testified to the factors that they
But
look
in
at.
this instance, we don't know.
That is so, my lady.
Now, if this was not this particular accused, and some normal person, the fact that the person does not have a job would have bothered you. Am I right?
I'm sure. I'm not sure if it's a question.
It is
my
a
lady.
question. Would in a normal case, forget Mr. Oscar Pistorius, normal case, if an accused does not have a job, that would bother you.
No, my lady, because it's not the only factor that you have to look at.
Would that one factor bother you? That it's absent?
It is absent, but it's not the only factor that you have to look at, my lady.
Now, isn't that a very important factor, and a factor that you touched on, but in other reports touched on more in depth?
If it is available that you can elaborate on that, I would have done so,
Okay.
my lady.
And in other reports that you've done, madam, that's the one factor that you elaborated on.
I cannot dispute that, my lady, but I'm focusing on this particular case at this particular accused.
You see, but this particular accused you're making special because he does not have a job and you don't care.
No, my lady, for each and every case you have to dealt on the merits and the facts before you. And I've had many clients that did not have a working position. And the condition clearly stipulates in the report that if you don't have a working condition, that you have to obtain a position.
Okay, that makes sense. If you get sentenced to 276I and you don't have a working position, get one.
No, my lady, it's H, not I.
Yeah, I agree. I'm wrong. You're right. I'm wrong. I apologize. H. You would require that person to get a job.
Now, I can't require a person to get a job, my lady, but there is a space made available for a person so that he can seek employment.
And this accused? What would he
This
do?
accused would be no exception to the rule, my lady.
No. You see, I know the report, and I know that the specific document that one has to fill in. I'm talking something different. I'm talking your evaluation of a person in recommending correctional supervision. That's all. I'm not talking about the report, please.
But, my lady, you don't just look at one factor. You have to look at this person in totality, see if he is a risk to society. Can he be addressed within the community? Can he undergo programs? Will he be a suitable candidate for community corrections versus other sentence options?
So you'll be willing to say to this court, if a person does not have a job but can undergo, what's the word used? Can do courses on anger management or whatever you subscribe, you'll be happy to recommend correctional supervision if a person does not have a working position. Have you done that?
If all the other factors are positive and is not a risk to society, it is an option available to the Honourable Court to consider. It's not for me to make such a recommendation, my lady, because I can only leave it as an option available to the Honourable Court.
In this present instance, you don't even know what the accused will do.
That is in fact so, my lady.
Why did you not inquire?
We don't know, my lady, because we do not know what the outcome of the criminal case will be.
No, but let's say what you would do is you discuss this. You say he can secure a working position in the family concern. You discuss it. What did you discuss with him? That's what I want to know.
The possibility of pursuing, there are so many possibilities, my lady, but none of them are secure. So you can say to the Honourable Court that there is a possibility, but you cannot secure that because we do not know the outcome.
Have you discussed it with him?
With the accused, I presume.
Yes.
Yes, Your Worship. Oh, yes, my lady, but unfortunately, and I've laughed again, not for disrespect, I'm sorry, for my own fault that I made. It is because you don't know what's going to happen. So you can sit and discuss it and put it down on record, but it won't. If I did do that, I could have gotten a question, don't you think it's arrogant to put something down if you don't know what the outcome of the case is? I cannot take the liberty of going somewhere that we don't know where we are going.
Madam, no, really, I'm very surprised with that answer. On a daily basis, or let me say weekly basis, when you do probation officer report, you tell this court, this person will go work there. This person has secured a job there. That's not arrogant. That's just telling the court.
It's only if you know, my lady, and you can tell the court this is the possibilities available. But there are no possibilities available that we could obtain.
So for this accused, you tell the court there's no possibilities available that you could obtain.
No, my lady,
What
the
then?
previous witness have already testified that there are prospects available, but that it is not secured.
You see, I understand that, and I've been asking you the same question over the third time. Did you discuss it with the accused? what his prospects would be.
I
That
did,
would-
my lady, but we could not confirm
What did you,
anything.
just tell us what you discussed.
I did ask him what would he do after he has been sentenced and he would not serve a period of direct
And he said?
imprisonment. And he said that he would look at options available currently, my lady.
And is that all? He said, you asked him a question, he said, I'll look at options. Is that what you're telling the court?
That is correct, my lady, because the options available would depend on the outcome of the criminal matter.
No, you see, madam, again, you're turning yourself in knots. You said, I asked the accused what he would do if he's not going to prison. He said he will look at options. Now I'm asking you, what are the options? You say it would depend on the judgment on the sentence of the court. It's like a circle.
I cannot answer on something that I do not have facts on, my lady.
Then I have to ask you, why would you not ask the accused to be more specific about his future plans?
The accused cannot be more specific, my lady, because he's currently an accused in a criminal matter which he does not know what the outcome will be.
Every person that you've prepared a report for, as a probation officer, every person has been accused in a criminal matter that didn't know what was happening. But with them, you discussed a job, but not this one. Why?
Oh, my lady, I'm sorry, we cannot just generalize, and the state advocate cannot just say to me that I have discussed each and every other case. I've done over 28 years, hundreds and thousands of cases. You cannot just make such an accusation.
Okay.
You cannot just presume or say. And with the accused person, my lady, I have not discussed it because we do not know what the outcome will be.
You see, I don't understand that answer. And madam, if you haven't given evidence in court, I would have perhaps understood it. But how can that be your answer? You don't know what the outcome would be. But the question is, if you don't go to prison, what will you do? That's the answer. That's a question. Did you ask him that question?
I did, my lady, but he could not give me an answer. As when I have to look at the accused in totality, we cannot just generalize. The accused has a grade 10 school certificate. The only thing he's been doing is to run and to go to different venues where he was seen as somebody that would speak to people, or he would hold functions. All of that would depend, my lady, on the circumstances. How has the media been affected his career? Will he be able to run again? None of that he has an answer to at this point in time. So I can come to the court and say something different, but we do not have the answer, my lady.
Last time I deal with this, I'm going to put to you a statement. He indicated that he will, there's options available, but he did not indicate to you what the options are.
No, my lady, I do not know specific options available.
And you didn't ask.
Even if I did ask, my lady, I could not go into them because the options are speculations that they might take up once the case has been dealt with, and that is if he does not have to serve a period of direct imprisonment.
You see, madam, again, I asked you, did you ask him? You said, even if I had asked him. So you did not answer the question. The question is, did you ask him?
I've already indicated earlier that I did ask him, but we did not get a final answer, my lady,
Okay.
as we cannot make a discussion on something which we have no confirmation on.
We've now moved that he said he's got options. We did not discuss it we discussed it, but we did not get a final answer. Is that so? Is that currently? We discussed it, but I did not get a final answer.
To me, it means more or less the same, my lady. I'm sorry.
Okay, so what? Just tell the court what options that you think that he mentioned.
My lady, there are no options that I know of available. The previous witness has also testified to that, so I cannot elaborate on that.
Madam, even if this accused was convicted of Dolus Director's murder, because of the conditions in prison, you would have said that he should not go there.
My lady, I would have asked the Honourable Court to look, irrespective of the circumstances or the conviction, to look at the accused person, because we have to individualize on each case. It's not just to generalize and say, but it's because of this sentence or that sentence, or this conviction or that conviction. Each and every person is different.
So, irrespective of the condition, of the conviction, taking into account the conditions in prison that you think exist, you would have said to the court, to send him to prison is too severe a sentence.
No, my lady, I cannot say that, because we have to take the circumstances during that time then into consideration.
What do you mean by that?
He would have been convicted on something different. There would have been different circumstances.
So, okay. So, let me then deal with it. Although the conditions in prison will not change, if he's convicted of murder and or culpable homicide, the conditions in prison that you know would be constant. So, if he's convicted of murder, it's fine, he can go to prison.
No, I did not say that,
What did
my
you say
lady.
then? I don't understand.
I said that the Honourable Court will take all these conditions during that specific time and place then into consideration.
Let me make it easier. I read your report. Studied it. You only make provision for people that are a danger to society to go to prison. Or not?
No, my lady, I do not make provision for any persons, as I do not make a specific recommendation. I can give an opinion to the Honourable Court, but the sentencing options vest in the hands of the Honourable Court.
Okay. I read your report, and the way I read your report, with the emphasis on the specific accused's disability and conditions in prison, whatever he was convicted of, you would not recommend or suggest that a prison sentence is appropriate because of those two issues, his disability and the conditions in prison. That's how I read your report. Am I reading it wrong?
My lady, first of all, I do not make a recommendation. I've already indicated that. Secondly, concerning his disability, one have to take it into consideration, and I have to emphasize factors which are known to the Honourable Court. Concerning the sentence options, the Honourable Court has an open avenue to impose any sentence. I cannot make or prescribe something to the Honourable Court.
Okay, so in this instance, you're prescribing nothing. Although you said you recommend or you would prefer a community-based sentence.
It's not a preference,
What
my
is it?
lady. One has to look at his personal circumstances. We cannot ignore that. And if you weigh it up, there are alternatives available.
But if he was convicted of murder and or cop, his personal circumstances would have been the same. His personal circumstances would not have changed.
That's correct, my
Okay.
lady.
So, if I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. If he was convicted of murder, that is directed. What would a possibility of a sentence of imprisonment be preferable to you?
My lady, with respect, I'll have to speculate because he wasn't convicted on murder. We're dealing with a person under his current circumstances which were convicted on culpable homicide and the other factors as placed before the Honourable Court.
You see, madam, you use the word speculate. You're a professional person. I'm asking for opinion and you refuse to give it. And a professional person would not speculate, they will give an opinion. Why would you not give it?
I cannot give an opinion on something which is not, my lady.
You referred to other matters that you did, and I looked at matters that you did. And the most recent one that's all over the media is Jup Marwanya.
That is correct, my lady.
After he was convicted of murder, you also... Oh, let me ask you, what did you recommend?
I did not make a recommendation. I never do, my lady, as I can merely give an opinion, and sentencing rests in the hands of the Honourable Court.
What was your opinion?
My opinion was that the court will impose a suitable sentence option.
Which was what? If I say that your opinion leaned towards correctional supervision in that matter, what would you say?
I cannot dispute it, my lady. I normally place all the factors before the Honourable Court.
No, listen to my question. If I say that in a Jup Marwanya case, where he was convicted of murder, killing 4 people, your opinion leaned towards 276H. Am I right?
I do not know what if that is the interpretation of the advocate. I cannot dispute that.
Am I wrong in saying that your report leaned towards that? You drafted the report.
My lady, I'm not exactly sure when the report was drafted, but I cannot recall exactly where it leaned to. I would not have made a recommendation, and now I'm being asked, irrespective of the time period, whether it leaned towards community corrections. I cannot confirm that.
Have you made a recommendation in this particular case?
I did not make a specific recommendation, but I did mention that a community-based sentence in this particular case would be a suitable sentence.
Did you have the same opinion in the Jup Marwanya case?
I would, with great respect, not know or remember, my lady.
If I put to you that in my research is that you had the same opinion, you would not be able to dispute that.
No, my lady, because I normally say that I leave the sentence options in the hands of the Honourable Court.
And in this instance, did you do that?
I left it in the hands of the Honourable Court. I can merely give an opinion, my lady.
That's what we're talking about, madam. I'm not going away.
Then I apologize.
In the
Maybe I did
Marwanya
not.
case, did you make an opinion? Did you form an opinion?
I normally say that the court will impose a suitable sentence option.
But not in this case. In Oscar Pistorius' case, you had a different opinion.
I added that a community-based sentence would be an appropriate option.
Did you add that in the Jup Marwanya case?
My lady, I've already indicated that I can't recall.
I see. Now, madam, then we get to now the conditions in prison, as described in your report, was a very important factor that you took into account in getting to your opinion of 276H. Am I right?
That is correct, my lady.
Good. So if somebody would now come and say that you based your opinion on an incorrect understanding of what's going on in prison, that would cause you to rethink your opinion.
No, my lady.
Oh, no.
Because not only is it what you see, there are also reports from the inspections of the prisons, which I do not say that I do the inspections or that I'm aware, but at least I'm able to read or to gain knowledge concerning these aspects. And many of these factors are confirmed within these reports, my lady.
Madam, see, it's the strangest thing that you would struggle with the answer to the questions. Because the question is, if somebody would tell you and show you you're wrong, just accept that. Somebody would come here to court and say, as far as they're concerned, they work in prison, you are wrong. Would that cause you to change your opinion?
great respect, it says if say wrong in the following. Just to say to someone that you're wrong, that's an unfair question. Let him say wrong in what respects? Wrong in the showers, wrong in the baths, wrong in the cement floor, wrong in the cells. Then she can answer, but this is unfair.
I'll make it easy. My lady,
Yes,
I don't want
be
to
more
argue.
specific.
I'll be specific.
Yes.
Wrong in your thinking that the prisons cannot cater for disabled people like this accused. Whatever he would want, you're wrong. They can. If that was done, would you change your view?
No, my lady, because my opinion is that the accused is vulnerable. He is disabled, irrespective of how anybody from any prison can come and testify on what they think, how they can accommodate the accused. They cannot eliminate his vulnerability. They cannot secure his safety to such an extent that he will not be exposed to many other factors, which we do not say he should not be punished, but that can be of a great danger to the accused under his specific circumstances.
So vulnerable people should not go to jail. That's the long and short of it.
With all due respect, that's not what I said, my lady. I attempted to make it part of the accused person and personality. If they take his legs away, irrespective of how we say it will or it will not happen, the accused cannot stand up for himself.
So if they take... But we're dealing with professional people running prisons that know what they're doing, that deal with people like the accused. So, but you say you don't trust that.
My lady, all I'm trying to say is the accused has to be looked up upon his individual circumstances, the fact that he does not have any legs, the fact that it will impact on him. Nobody is saying here today that he should not be sentenced, but I think that there are circumstances that will differentiate him from any other person.
Let us deal with page 21. You deal with his rehabilitation has a far better chance to succeed. What rehabilitation?
Excuse me, I do not know. Where are you?
Page 21, the second line.
On page 21, I've got different pages here. I've got from the top of the page. I'm sorry, my lady, I'm not exactly sure where we are.
It's line number 2.
Thank you, my lady.
His rehabilitation has a fair better chance of success in these circumstances through correctional supervision than in prison. Rehabilitation from what?
It's rehabilitation physically, my lady. And then secondly, he is currently undergoing psychological and psychiatric treatment.
But that's treatment. I'm dealing with rehabilitation.
But that's part of the rehabilitation, my lady.
No, but treatment you discuss in the next paragraph. Is that what you meant? So, what did you mean with rehabilitation? You say physical rehabilitation. Is that psychological treatment? Is that what you mean with rehabilitation?
His rehabilitation forms part of that. That's correct, my lady.
Okay, so you discuss rehabilitation, which is in fact treatment in that paragraph and treatment in the next paragraph. I thought you meant something different with rehabilitation.
No, my lady.
Isn't that just something that you put in all your reports, and in this particular instance it found its way into this report? Because I fail to see what rehabilitation you're talking about.
The rehabilitation of the person in totality, my lady, not only physically but psychologically, and when he goes for the therapy, it has a far better chance of success because not only is he responsible for it, but at least there is or there are people appointed to the accused that can assist within his specific needs.
But that is the same position for all people with psychological problems that are sentenced by this court. It's not peculiar to this particular person.
That is in fact so, my lady, but one can still not generalize because you have to look at all the people in an individual manner.
No, but what you're dealing with here is you're saying the treatment in the atmosphere of prison, that's not the individual manner. So if I read this, my interpretation is people with psychological problems cannot be treated in prisons, they should be kept out of prison.
Not at all, my lady, but they will be treated different because we all know that there is a waiting list for people to see the psychologist, and there is a waiting list for people to see the social workers. And we know that they have a shortage not only in one of the prisons, but that there are a shortage of professional people appointed for prisoners.
But you also know that prisoners are entitled to see their own psychologist in prison.
That is in fact so, my lady, but it is made very difficult and the charges is immensely, and then people have to apply through the prison to see them.
No. Wait. Let's just unpack what you're saying. The charges, what charges are we talking about?
That the private psychologists or social workers will ask.
Yeah, but they're asking it in any case if you're outside. It's a fee. So if he's in or out, if that person would see him, it's the same fee.
No, that's true, my lady,
so
but again, one has to individualize. If you look at the treatment or the therapy, for a person just to receive treatment and therapy because it's available, it often lacks the purpose. But when a person is on the outside, there's growth, there's motivation, there is somewhere to move forward to. But when you are consumed or locked up, obviously your framework will be very limited. I've tried to explain that further in the report where I said that the therapy in the prison, and I'm not particularly speaking about people have problems once they are detained. So it will be about their adaptation, how do they manage, how do they cope. There will be a different focus point.
Yeah. Remember, this whole line of questioning started with, you know that the prisons will make it possible for people to see their own psychologist. If this particular accused would go to prison, he would be able to see his own psychologist. The charges would be the same. So what else bothered you about that?
Nothing, my lady.
No. My lady, may this be an opportune moment to take a gentleman. I think it's 5 to, if it's not late. It's 5 to 3, my lady.
We'll take our adjournment. We'll start tomorrow at 9:30 in the morning.
As a group, please.
Court will adjourn.